Hello BookTube, I'm Jonathan, this is Charlie, and welcome to Words in Time. If you've ever heard any barking in the background of any of my videos, now you know why. Good job, Charlie. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a rapid fire 20 questions book tag. Shout out to Liam's Lyceum for the tag. Liam reviews sci-fi and fantasy on his channel. He has an excellent Book of the New Sun review, so I'm going to leave the link to his channel in the description below. Go check it out. And what we're going to be doing with this tag is just sharing some of my thoughts, my opinions, my habits, so you can learn a little bit more about me. And I want to hear the answers, your answers to the questions in the comments below as well, so I can learn more about you guys too. So let's get into it with question number 1. So first up, we have, how many books are too many for a series? So I don't think there's a hard cap. If you write a 100 book series and the 100th book is the best book of all time, then go ahead and write your 100 book series. That was the perfect length for your series. But in general, I would say anything that reaches double digits is a little bit intimidating. I'm a bit of a completionist, so I'd like to finish anything that I start, and over 10 books is a bit of a commitment, so shout out to The Expanse, 9 books. As long as you can get without potentially scaring away Jonathan. Question number 2, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Don't love them. I don't love cliffhangers, but I will say the success of the cliffhanger depends on the resolution. So if book 1 ends on a cliffhanger, if it's resolved in a really exciting and satisfying way in book 2, then go ahead and write that cliffhanger. But if it's not that exciting, then I'm going to be doubly annoyed at that cliffhanger. It sounds like you just didn't have a great ending, but you wanted to make me buy book 2. So depends on the execution. Number 3, hardback or paperback? Paperback all the way. Okay, here's my pitch for paperback. I can get a paperback for half the price, a third of the price, and there's no annoying dust jacket that slides up and down. It's much lighter, easier to handle. Reading hardbacks is a workout. Like, I'm just trying to relax, like not build up lactic acid. And when I'm in bed reading my paperback and I inevitably fall asleep, all right, a paperback's not going to kill me. All right, you fall asleep, hardback drops on your face, that's a trip to the hospital. That's no fun, okay? My only argument that I will concede for the hardback is they do look good on the shelf, especially deluxe editions. So if there was a really cool deluxe edition of a book that I was a big fan of, yeah, okay, I'll shell out for the vinyl edition or whatever, but until then, mass market paperbacks are the way for me. With number 4, we have, what is your favorite book? Now, I actually want to save that for when I do my top 10 sci-fi books video. So I'm going to change this to series. And for me, right now, as of completed series, I'm going to go with the Hyperion Cantos. I have reviewed all 4. You should definitely check them out, or at least the first 2. That's a duology, book 1A, 1B. And if you enjoy them, go ahead and read 3 and 4, which is 2A and 2B. Hyperion, Endymion, check it out. So of course with number 5, we have, what is your least favorite book? So in high school, I had to read Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert, and I hated everyone. I hated all the characters in that book, and the plot was just miserable. So, I don't know, I was maybe 16 when I read it. I might have a different take on it now, but that was a thoroughly unenjoyable reading experience. If you have read it, let me know your thoughts. Sell me on it if you like it. What did 16-year-old Jonathan miss? I'm willing to learn. Moving on to number 6, we have love triangles. Yes or no? So I'm going to say I've never read a book with a love triangle, and you might be thinking, Jonathan, that's absurd. It's one of the most common tropes of all time. Well, hear me out. Let's say I'm Katniss, and I'm kind of interested in Peter, and I'm also kind of interested in Gale. What shape does this make? All right, that's a love V, okay? If Peter and Gale, maybe there's something there. All right, now we're talking triangles, okay? So love V's, not a fan of. It's an annoying trope. You either want one and are just frustrated that they don't get with that one, or you don't care about either of them, you don't care about any of the relationships. But a love triangle, okay, that could be interesting. Someone write a love triangle, I'll read that book. For number 7, we have, what is the most recent book that you couldn't finish? So in university, or college for my American friends, I attempted to read Gravity's Rainbow by Thomas Pynchon. Now, this is a notoriously difficult book to read, and silly old me, I thought, this book's not going to beat me. Well, around 150 pages in, I thought, ooh, yeah, I have no idea what's going on, and there's around 600 pages to go. I'm going to have to tap out on this one. So, if anybody's read Gravity's Rainbow, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Props to you for finishing it. Maybe it's good. I didn't finish it. I can't say one way or the other. Maybe that's a bucket list thing. Before I go, I've got to make myself finish Gravity's Rainbow. At number 8, we have a book you're currently reading. I think it's interesting that the question is a book and not the book. If you're one of those people that can read multiple books at a time, credit to you, I guess. I'm just a one book kind of guy. Anyway, I'm currently reading Abaddon's Gate by James S.A. Corey, the third book in the Expanse series. Enjoying it so far. We'll see how it goes. Review definitely coming soon. Number 9 is, what is the last book you recommended to someone? So, I'm all about the Sun Eater series at the moment, absolutely loving it. I'm telling everyone to read Empire of Silence. Go check out my review for it if you want to know why. It's spoiler free. And I'm going to add a second one. The last book that I recommended that I know that person actually read was Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Also reviewed that one. Absolutely love it. I think they loved it. The messages were a little ambiguous. I hope if you're watching this video, I hope you liked it. I hope everyone likes it because Children of Time is awesome. Moving on to number 10, we have, what is the oldest book you've read by publication date? So, unless I'm missing one, I think for me this is Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift that was published in 1726. So that's quite a while ago, although in terms of human history, not all that long ago, so maybe I should check out some older books. This doesn't actually have the best rating on Goodreads, but I really enjoyed it. Maybe it's just solidarity for a fellow Jonathan, but I enjoyed Gulliver's Travels. I think it's a little repetitive, but I felt like it paid off in the back half. So if there's any fellow Gulliver's Travelers out there, let me know in the comments. At number 11, we have, what is the most recent book you've read by publication date? So I think I need to keep up to date a little bit more with new releases, but the most recent book that I've read is Howling Dark by Christopher Rocchio. Yes, I love the Sun Eater series. That came out in 2019, and I'll be reading Demon in White soon, which came out in 2020. So in terms of 2021 releases, I really want to read Shards of Earth by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So yeah, if you've got any 2021 recommendations for me, let me know so I can do a little bit of more catching up on the year before the year ends. At number 12, we have, who is your favorite author? Now, that's a tough one to answer. I will be doing a top sci-fi authors list at some point in the future, but for now, I'm going to go with at least the author that I've read the most books by, because I've read nearly everything they've written, and that is Kurt Vonnegut. I do have a top 5 Kurt Vonnegut books video, if you want to check that out and see what might suit you. And Kurt Vonnegut was just such a big influence on me, really sparked my love for sci-fi, and if you haven't read him yet, go check him out, and I hope he does the same for you too. Next, at number 13, we have buying or borrowing books. So I enjoy buying books, I do love collecting, I do love stacking the shelves, but really however you read I think is great. If collecting books is a bit too expensive or you don't have enough space in your home or apartment, then I think it's totally cool to be borrowing books. If you want to check out the first in the series and see if it's for you, go ahead and borrow it, and then maybe check out the rest later. So I like buying them, but however you're reading, reading's great. Do it. At number 14, we have, what is a book that you dislike that everyone else seems to love? So I don't know if I dislike it, but a book that didn't quite click for me that I felt was a little tough to read was Neuromancer by William Gibson. Now, I do respect what it created. It influenced a lot of great things. Cyberpunk pretty much helped to define the genre, big influence on films like The Matrix and things like that. And after finishing it, reading up on it, I did find it quite interesting. I did feel like it cleared some things up. I learned a bit more. But the actual experience was very tough. It was hard to follow. I felt a step behind the whole time. Maybe something that would benefit from a reread. It's a little bit divisive, so let me know if you've read Neuromancer. Some people hate it, some people love it. Let me know what you think. It just didn't quite work for me. And question number 15 is bookmarks or dog ears? Firstly, don't dog ear those poor defenseless books, okay? Leave them alone. Keep your books in good condition. I don't really care. Anyway, my answer is neither. I just remember. I'm currently on page 240 of Abaddon's Gate by James S. A. Corey. I don't know why I remember, but I do. I finish the chapter, I look at the page number, I put it down, I go to bed, 240. That's where I start the next day. There you go. At number 16, we have, what is a book you can always reread? Now, to be honest, I actually don't reread a lot of books. There's just so many new books that I want to get to, and if I kept on rereading my favorites, I would just never get to them all. But this was something I used to do more as a kid. I do remember rereading The Transl Saga by Gary Paulson. So this is YA, sci-fi, fantasy. I read this when I was probably around 10, 11, 12, and I loved it. I think it was my introduction to the genre. I read it a couple of times. I thought it was really, really cool. And if that author sounds familiar to you, he wrote Hatchet, the YA survival story. So if you enjoy YA or you have any kids, check out The Transl Saga. It's something I'd like to reread again one day as an adult to see how it holds up. I hope it does, because I have nostalgia for that book. At 17, we have, can I read while listening to music? Well, I can, but I don't. Usually, most of my reading is done in bed before I go to sleep, and it might be a little bit weird if all of a sudden I said to my wife, hey, mind if I crank some dramatic orchestral music to get me in the mood for this battle scene? Of course there's headphones and earpods, but then you're on the pillow and that whole deal. No. Props to you if you do it. I could add to the mood, I guess, but no, I don't really listen to music while I read. Moving on to number 18, we have, do you prefer one point of view or multiple? So I think this obviously depends on the character or characters. I think if you have an awesome 10 out of 10 character, yeah, let's just stick with them. Let's stay with them the whole book. But if you've got a mix of good characters, great characters, but not one standout character, then yeah, spread the love with multiple POVs. I think in a book like Sun Eater, sticking with Hadrian the whole time works because Hadrian is very interesting. It's a very deep character. I like his perspective, or at least hearing it. Whereas something like The Expanse, I like Holden, but I don't know if the books would be as interesting, as exciting as we just stuck with Holden the whole time and we saw everything from Holden's perspective. So, yes, I think it depends on the circumstance and your characters. Alright, number 19, our second last question. Do you read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? That's a crazy question. One sitting? I don't know about you. I probably read about a page a minute. So a 600-page book would take me 10 hours to finish. I mean, it's doable, but I don't know how many days I have 10 free hours to just read for. So, multiple days, of course. I think I have done it. It's not a book necessarily, it's a graphic novel, but I remember reading The Hard Goodbye, the first Sin City graphic novel, in one sitting. Really enjoyed it, but that probably took me 2 hours, I would guess, give or take. So, yeah. Let me know if you've done it. I'll be impressed to see what books you guys have read in a single day. And for number 20, we have Who Do You Tag? So I'm going to go with Jake Bishop. I'm going to leave the link to his channel in the description. I know he's a fan of fantasy and science fiction, and most importantly, the Sun Eater series. Has a great video on why you should read Sun Eater. Go check it out. Any Sun Eater fan is alright by me. So there you go, guys. That's all 20 questions. If you did make it to the end, Charlie and I really appreciate it. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe because, as always, there's more sci-fi content coming soon.